Hey everybody, welcome to Boardgame Heaven. My name is Raymond, and in this video I'll be taking a look at Soundbox by Hjalmar Hach and Lorenzo Silvo, published by Horrible Guild, who were kind enough to give me a copy to review. This is a party game for 4 to 7 players, which plays in about half an hour for ages 8 and up. And in this game you'll be making all kinds of sounds, and one person has to try and guess which sounds were being made. And before I start explaining how to play the game and share my thoughts on it, I'd like to ask you to please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, because that really helps the channel. And if you'd like to support what I do, there's also a Patreon page. There's a link in the description below, and you can support me for as little as just €1 per month or more, and in return you'll get your name in the credits of my videos, early access, and also access to some Patreon exclusive videos. Alright, let's open up the box and set up a game. Okay, so this is Soundbox, a game designed by Hjalmar Hach and Lorenzo Silva by Horrible Guild. Nice looking box, bit of an odd shape though, a very tall rectangular box. It is a game for ages 8 and up, 4 to 7 players, and plays in about 30 minutes. So it is a bit of a party game, of course, and you need to make sounds. So you put on glasses so you can't see, you listen to the sounds made by the other players, and then you guess which cards they were trying to suggest to you. So that looks pretty funny. Contents are listed here, but we'll take a look at that. All right. So yeah, nice looking design, interesting looking box. And I guess it's a box with a magnetic lid, or it slides out. So let me just take off the shrink wrap real quick. All right, there we go. So let's see how that works. Oh, there it is. So yeah, there is a magnetic lid on the side here. You can see the magnets there. So what do we have? We have a little leaflet here, a cooperative party game. This is, I guess, yeah, a little promotional leaflet with all of their games. The King's Dilemma, and there's now also the Queen's Dilemma, Vendetta, Vampire the Masquerade, Tiny Turbo Cars with a speed up expansion. We have Unicorn Fever, the website, of course, and Dragon Castle on the back, Potion Explosion, Unicorn Fever, Similo, which is also fun. Check out the reviews I did. Dungeon Fighter, which I'm also unboxing. Several expansions, 2nd edition. Railroad Inc., also really cool game. And yeah, so then we have a really nice looking bag with the logo on it. It's really cool. Doesn't have a string, it's just a bag to put some stuff in, I guess. So then we have that. Here is the rulebook. So we have the components listed here, the game in a nutshell, the setup. There's even a Soundbox app there. You can scan the QR code and get it. How to play for different numbers of players, 6 and 7 players. And double sound. So that's, how do you play it with less than 6 then? Or is the rules the same and the 6, 7 players is different? Yeah, I guess so. The box is there. All right. Yeah, interesting. Silly game mode. if you want it even more silly. All right, then we have these really cool looking glasses to blind the players. We have a blue one. That's pretty awesome. That's really cool. We have an orange one here, the round glasses. We have a dark blue one, also round, and a white one. That's pretty cool. All right, we have a nice insert even, and we have some tokens, so we can take these wooden tokens and put them in their own little spot. So let me just get rid of the Ziploc bag there. So this is pretty cool. We have the Pac-Man here, the heart, the plus on a triangle, and another one. So yeah, we can put these in here. That's pretty nice. So they made a nice insert for all the cards as well, and for these tokens. So yeah, the cards, if you want to sleeve them, they'll be bigger, and then you can divide them amongst these three slots. And we have these, again, wooden discs with the triangle on the back and different numbers and hearts on the front. So I don't know what that means yet, but we'll figure that out when we play it. And those, I guess, go in here. So let me just put them there. All right, so that's nice. We have a timer here, a sand timer with blue sand, which is fitting to the color of the box. And that goes in here. It's nicely held in place. We also have a play mat, which is really cool. Let me just open that up. All right, so open that up. Look at that. The board is a play mat, and it's double-sided too. Let's see, it's different. B5-7 and A4-6. So 4 players, 6 players, 5 players, or 7 players. That's really cool. Yeah, it's really nice. I love that. It's a really good looking mat. Stitched edges. So yeah, you do have to, of course, roll it up every time and fit it in the box. So when you play it, you kind of have to put it, hopefully you can put it on the side that's like this. So you kind of need to know beforehand how many players are gonna play and then roll it up accordingly. Or just put some weights, I guess, on either side. But that fits in nicely. And then we have cards with different words on them, of course. Let's have a quick look. All right, so we have, for example, Little Red Riding Hood, and they're all double-sided. We have a Fish Market, The Jungle Book, The Last Mile of a Marathon, The Little Mermaid, The Telegraphone, The Knights of the Round, Blender, Snow White, Street Fighter 2, that's so cool. Beauty and the Beast, I can just imagine what kind of noises people are gonna make. So we have a whole bunch of these cards, not gonna spoil them all, but that's pretty awesome. And we have another stack here with more words. So yeah, crashing airplane, a drummer. I'm just gonna divide these a bit over these 3 trays. And just to make sure that there's nothing else in here, there's nothing underneath this tray. All right. So that is everything in the box. I like how they did this. It is a rather big box. I think they could have saved a bunch of space had they made this a bit different. It could have been less tall. Otherwise, I love the design. I love the colors. And I'm looking forward to trying this because this seems to me like a lot of silly fun. I'm just going to put this over the glasses and then the rules here. And then we have a nice closed lid with magnets. And that's everything that's in the box. To set up a game of Soundbox, take the game board, place it in the middle of the table with the side showing the right number of players. Side A for a game with 4 or 6 players. Side B for a game with 5 or 7 players. Take the numbered tokens, numbered 11 to 20, and place them on the corresponding spots on the board. Place the remaining tokens, numbered 1 through 10, in the bag. Take the sound cards, give that deck a shuffle, and randomly draw 10 cards and place them next to the game board in the spots numbered 1 through 10. If you're playing with young children, the game suggests you only use the sound cards indicated with a star. Then place the double sound markers indicated with a plus on the matching spaces of the soundtrack. Put the progress marker on the starting space of the soundtrack and place the heart marker on the starting space of the heartbreak track. Set the sand timer on the table where everyone can see it clearly. or use the Soundbox app. Decide on a starting player and give that player one of these guesser glasses. They will be the starting player and all the other players will be the sound makers. In a 6 or 7 player game, you give another set of these glasses to a player who is the recorder, and that player is the third player to the left of the guesser. The recorder will not be making sounds. That's the whole setup. Let's explain the rules. A game of Soundbox is played over a series of rounds, and each round is divided into 3 steps. First there's the sound making, then there's the guessing, and finally the cleanup. First of all, the person with the guesser glasses, the guesser, gets to take a look at all the sound cards next to the game board. And when they're ready, they put on their glasses to blindfold themselves. Next, all the people who are going to be making sounds, so in a 6 or 7 player game there will also be a recorder, but in a lower number count, all the other players, they will draw randomly a token from the bag and look at that number. That number matches one of the cards on the game board, and that card is the sound that is assigned to you. So the sound makers spend a few seconds trying to think of what noise would convey the text on their card. And when everybody is ready, one of the players flips over the sand timer and all the players simultaneously start making noises. And this is a cooperative game, so try to make a noise that the guesser can easily guess and that matches your card. Because as soon as the sand timer runs out, then all the noisemakers have to stop making noises and the guesser will have time to try and guess which cards were represented by noises. And in a 6 or 7 player game, also the recorder, who also has a set of glasses, can also look at the cards before the sand timer is turned. Then they put on their glasses, and during the sound making step, the job of the recorder is to try and memorize all the sounds made by the sound makers. And their goal is to reproduce those sounds for the guesser during the guessing step to help them identify as many sounds as possible. So during the guessing step, after the sand timer runs out and everybody stops making noises, the guesser can take off their glasses and again look at the cards, and they will start guessing which cards were being imitated one at a time. When the guesser thinks they have found one of the cards, you simply point at the card. And if that card matches a number with the token that one of the noisemakers has, then they can indicate that they guessed correctly by turning over their token. If the guesser was right, so for example I had the 1 here and I made noises that that sounded like a bachelorette party, and the guesser guessed correctly, then they get to take that card and place it in front of them. And then they can try to guess another card. They can keep on guessing as long as they guess correctly until all of the sound makers' tokens have been revealed or until they make a mistake. When that happens, any remaining tokens are not revealed and the round ends immediately. Any cards that weren't guessed stayed on the board. In a 6 or 7 player game, the recorder must keep their glasses on during the guessing step, and they cannot talk during this step. They can only try to reproduce the sounds they heard during the sound making step to help the guesser. So then it's time for the cleanup. So if we had any unguessed tokens left, that is the time to reveal them. So if these 2 were guessed, these 2 cards were scored, and these 2 tokens weren't guessed. So we flip those open and we check the number of broken hearts on these tokens. Now you can see that this one has a single broken heart, for example, and so does this one. But there are also tokens that have 2 or even 3 broken hearts on them. Then you move the heart marker down 1 space on the heartbreak track for each broken heart on the tokens that were not guessed. And that is the damage your team suffers for not guessing all of the sound cards. Then you count the number of correct cards that were guessed, in this case 2, and then you move the progress marker forward that many spaces on the soundtrack. And any round circle on the soundtrack is progress. So this is one space that would be here. This is another space that would be here. These spaces also count as spaces on the soundtrack. Now, whenever the progress marker reaches or passes a space with a number on it, then those number tokens are removed and those spots are unlocked on the track. Then put all the number tokens back into the soundbox bag, give that a shake, return all the cards that were guessed correctly to the box, and then draw new cards from the deck and place them in the now empty spots, including the spots that were just unlocked. Then you give the guesser glasses to the person to the left of the current guesser and you will start a new round. If you're playing with 6 or 7 players, you also give the recorder glasses to the player to the left of the current recorder and they will be the new recorder for the next round. Now there's also these double sound markers on the board, and whenever the progress marker reaches or passes these markers, these are put in play. So once that happens, you assign that double sound marker to one of the players who is not the guesser or the recorder in a 6 or 7 player game, and you also do not assign the second sound marker to a player who already has one, so you give them to different players. Now, a player who has one of those markers needs to draw 2 number tokens from the bag during a round, and they get assigned 2 cards, so they need to make 2 noises within the time limit. And this is of course more challenging, but if the guesser guesses both sounds, you advance faster on the soundtrack. But you can also get rid of these double sound markers, and that happens when the heartbreak tracker reaches or passes one of these minus symbols. So here's the light blue one, here's the dark blue one. So if it reaches or passes that, this token is simply removed from the game, whether it was already in the hands of a player or still on the board. So when that happens, these markers are simply removed from the game and returned to the box. The game ends immediately when one of the following things happens. The heart marker reaches the final heartbreak step on this heartbreak track, and that means the entire team has lost the game. But when the progress markers reaches the crown space at the end of the soundtrack here, all the players have won the game. And those are all the rules for Soundbox. Let's go to my final thoughts. So my final thoughts on Soundbox by Horrible Guild. Let's start with the components. The box is pretty sturdy and looks really nice. It has the magnetized cover, so that's pretty cool as well. It's a bit of an awkward shape. It's not a standard size box, and I do think with a little bit of effort they could have made it a standard sized box, but I mean, this does look nice. I mean, it's fine for what it is. Everything fits nicely inside. You get a sand timer, which is nice if you don't have or want to use the app. The cards are of a good quality. They're small, but they're not as they're as big as they need to be because they only have the single word on it, which is in big letters. It's easy to read, so the cards are fine. You get these paper glasses to blindfold the guesser and possibly the recorder player. If you're playing 6 or 7 player, you got 4 of them. So and you maximum need 2. So you get plenty of those. You can choose your favorite color, or if one breaks or rips, you still have some spare. I like that you get a mat that is kind of nice and luxurious. But since you roll it up to fit in the box, that does mean that sometimes the corners will curl a bit after you roll it out. So if the corners are pointing down, that's not a problem, but if you're playing the other side, because it's double-sided, then the corners might be pointing up, so you need to put some weight on both sides, which is not ideal, of course. So I think I would have probably preferred a simple board that you fold into that would fit in the box, but a playmat does give it a little bit more luxurious feel. It's a good quality in any case. I also like the wooden tokens. They are nice and thick. They are all painted, and they have a clear number on them and the number of broken hearts if you don't guess the correct cards. And they go in this nice little box with the bag with the Soundbox logo on it. So you get all those tokens in there, which is nice as well. So the components are pretty good. Normally there'd also be artwork. This game doesn't really have artwork, more of a aesthetic, graphical design. And I do like the way it looks. I do like kind of the sound wave track that it has here. So it does look really nice. I like the colors. So that is good in my opinion as well. Theme isn't really there. It's a sound game, it's a party game, so you know, it's a sound box. There's not much of a theme because it's really just the gameplay that matters here. So the gameplay then I think is really fun. I had a good time playing this. It plays up to 7 players, which is great. But you have to have a minimum of 4, so it doesn't get played every time I have people over. Of course, you do need to have a bigger group of people to play this. It is, after all, a party game. Also, it's not for everyone because all the players, except the guesser and possibly the recorder, will be making noises at the same time. So if you don't like loud games, loud noises of people all at the same time, then this game is probably not for you. You need to be able to kind of isolate sounds that you're hearing, try to focus on a single voice at the same time, and try to think of what that could be, and then the next one and the next one, all within 13 seconds. So there is a time limit too, so there's a little bit of pressure there. So, but if you do enjoy that, it is kind of hilarious. I did enjoy this a lot. A lot of laughs were had. And so yeah, it's really kind of hit or miss with certain people. I can imagine not liking this game, but if you're okay with making a lot of noise, it can be absolutely hilarious. It's also a pretty quick game. It doesn't take too many rounds to get through all of those. You get multiple sounds, of course, and then you get the pluses. So one of the players, or even possibly 2 of the players, have to make 2 sounds. And then at some point, if you do not guess correctly, you can lose those tokens again. What I forgot to mention is actually you also get these wooden tokens, which is also pretty good, and I like them, and they are also painted. So those also give the game a bit of a more luxurious feel to it. The replayability, I think, is pretty good. You get a huge stack of cards. So there's 110 cards in the game, and they are printed on both sides. So that's 220 words that you can make noises for, and that will guarantee a pretty good replayability. I think the game is basically replayable for as long as you enjoy playing it. So if you play this a lot, you will probably at some point go through the stack and start encountering words that you've seen before, but I think it will take a lot of games before you get to that point. Of course, if you keep on shuffling the cards, then you might encounter some words that you've seen before sooner. So I just try to go through cards, set those aside, take a next stack, and play like that until I've had them all, and then you shuffle them all together. Kind of makes the replayability a little bit better. Perhaps they will release some new card packs in the future, I don't know, but I feel the replayability is good enough to last for a long time. Finally, there's the language dependency. There is, of course, language dependency because all of these cards have words on them that you need to know, that you need to understand to be able to make the sounds for them. The game is available in multiple languages. This is the English version. There's also an Italian version, a Spanish version, a German version, and I believe a Hungarian version. And perhaps by now there will be other localizations as well. So look for a game in your language if you can't find one online, perhaps in your local favorite game stores. But we have the English version, and that works just fine for us. So all in all, I did really enjoy this game. I've played it several times. People I played it with enjoyed it, but I can definitely see that this is not a game for everyone. So be advised before deciding whether you want to pick up this game or not. That was it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And please also check out my Patreon page by checking out the link in the description below or the icon at the end of this video. Finally, I'd like to thank Horrible Guild for donating a copy for me to review. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time on Board Game Heaven.